Does anybody know what cut the mustard means? I mean, we all know what it means, I suppose, but
Thinning it down?
sorry.
Does it mean they originally started to put extra liquid in to make it less strong or something?
Possibly, but I think it's actually to do with cutting the plant. But I don't really know because
Ah,
I researched it and nobody seems to know the answer. Even in this book, they couldn't tell me the answer. So and it basically means making the grade, but you don't actually cut mustard. You squeeze it, don't you, you squeeze the pods to get the thing. Anyway, it's this 19th century American thing that suddenly became popular and everybody uses it now, not necessarily knowing what it means. Um, Okay, feet of clay. Biblical scholars. Who's this?
Goodness, Goliath. Is it supposed to
Goliath.
looks like Goliath, I suppose. It's a bit weird.
Well, think of
Or
Daniel.
is it,
Think of Daniel.
it's yeah,
It's
it's
Daniel
it's
in the lion's den.
yeah. So it's actually
Is it gladiator?
It's Nebuchadnezzar,
Oh,
Oh, right.
and
Nebuchadnezzar.
Neb
of
Da-
course it is.
yeah,
Yeah,
Daniel was interpreting Nebuchadnezzar's dreams, and Nebuchadnezzar dreamed of himself as being this man with a head of gold, a chest of arms, and blah blah, belly and thighs of bronze, legs of iron, a bit like me, really. Feet, feet of iron and clay and crushing rock. So he asked Daniel to interpret the dream, and he came up with the idea that it was all very fine and all the rest of it, but because um, clay and iron do not mix, the whole thing would collapse. So therefore, it was a folly thing. So having feet of clay means that well, it's not a permanent thing. It's something which will come to an end. Okay. So if you've got feet and clay, you're doomed to failure. Okay. Anybody idea what this one is?
cold
Cold
turkey.
turkey. Yeah.
Cold turkey. Yes, that's right. Yeah. It's an American thing again. Originally, it was to talk cold turkey. Nobody seems to know why either, but it's basically to talk frankly. Now, of course, it's applied to, well, what's it applied to now?
Not drinking
Withdrawal.
alcohol or drugs.
Mm. It's giving something up suddenly,
Abstinence.
gradually.
Abstinence.
Yeah, basically, I think it's about facing facts and doing something about it. Kind of like totally disregarding the thing and getting on with a way of solving the problem, basically. Okay, this one's easy.
Humble pie.
Yeah, yes, it's
Humble.
humble pie. Yes, basically. So
Yeah.
to eat humble pie is to well, to admit defeat.
Admit you were wrong, isn't it? It's to admit you were wrong.
It's
To
to
apologize.
apologize. Yeah,
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
apologize.
Yeah, here's another one. All right, it's a mathematical issue.
Oh,
6.
Baker's dozen.
Baker's dozen.
Well done.
Yes,
Oh,
well
very
done
good.
now.
Surprisingly enough, in the 12th century, markets were very strictly regulated, and selling short measures was heavily punished. So bakers would supply 13 loaves or whatever when 12 were asked for to make sure of keeping out of trouble, basically. So what's this one?
Nest egg.
A nest egg, yes, that's right. Yeah, and it
Very
was
good.
literally an egg, real or artificial, was put into a hen's nest to encourage laying after the eggs had been taken away. So it started in the 14th century. By the 17th century, it became a metaphor for putting something by for future use. This one, what's this one?
Apple of your
Apple of
eye.
your eye.
The apple of your eye, absolutely, yeah.
I like that image. It's nice.
It's a nice image, isn't it? Yeah, and it's kind of original.
Mm.
Alfred the Great apparently used it in his translation of a Latin word. It's mentioned in Psalm 17 in the King James Bible. I'm very biblical this morning. Okay. Keep me as the apple of thy eye. Hide me under the shadow of thy wings. So it's It's asking God to look after you, basically. Okay, what's this? What's the predominant color?
Black.
Blackmail.
Blackmail, exactly.
Oh, well done. Yeah.
Blackmail was originally two separate words. And in the 16th century, marauding chiefs in Scotland extorted money from local farmers in return for a promise not to plunder their land or their property or their animals. Okay. Any idea what this idiom might be?
It says at the top.
It says at the top.
Guys
It's
in
on
the
it,
wall.
on it.
Guide in the wool.
Guide in the wall, exactly.
Ah, very good.
Yeah, which is comes from Chaucer's time, actually, apparently. If wool is dyed before it's made up into garment, the colour stays fast and deeply ingrained. Eventually, it morphed into the idea of an individual who is stubbornly unchanging. This is gallows humor. It's gallows humor, which comes from the German Galgenhumor. And I found a couple of really nice examples. In 1757, Robert Francois Damiens was condemned to execution from an attempted assassination on Louis XV of France. Hearing that he would have his skin burned with hot oil, pitch, sulfur, his body would be torn apart by 4 horses, and his remains incinerated, he said, "Well, it's going to be a tough day." And a famous murderer in Dr. William Palmer in 1856 looked at the trapdoor and said to his executioner, "Are you sure it's safe?" Right, what's this one? A duck with a crutch. It's a lame duck, yeah.
Lame.
A lame duck. Oh, well, we were nearly there, weren't we?
And in those days, it was a person who couldn't meet their debts. John Galsworthy used it in the Forsyte saga when he said June Forsyte was continually taken up with lame ducks of one sort or another.
Burying the hatchet.
Burying the hatchet. Yeah, okay. In the 19th century, in the United States, indigenous people buried their hatchets in the ground as a sign of peace. Nowadays, it's a symbol of ending an argument or letting bygones be bygones. But it was actually a physical act that Native Americans used to do. What's this one?
Oh, pig in a poke.
Yes, very good. Quick there, yeah. A pig was a very valuable commodity. It could provide meat and all the rest of it for the winter. But unscrupulous dealers would con the naive by closing the poke or the bag in which the pig was contained so that they couldn't see what they were getting, and they might get home and find out they've got nothing like what they'd bought. Okay. Any ideas what this might be?
Oh, isn't that beautiful?
It's not too obvious. What's the predominant colour, would you think?
Blue.
These people are rather grand, would you say? Blue-blooded, that's right. Yeah, it's a very snobbish, racist kind of concept. It's a Spanish concept, actually. And they believe, true aristocrats in Spain believe that they had no trace of Moorish blood or other darker skinned races, and their veins showed blue through their pale skin. So that's where blue-blooded comes from. Okay, it's this one. Obvious one. What's the animal?
Elephant in the room? No.
White
No.
elephant.
White elephant.
Yeah,
White elephant. 19th century in Thailand, or Siam as it was in those days, white elephants weren't used for labor. They were considered to be because they were so rare, they were considered to be rather sacred. Because elephants were very much part of life in those days for labor and all the rest of it. So the king would give one to a courtier who displeased him, so that he had the cost of its upkeep, but they couldn't make any profit from its labor. This one's a bit more convoluted, but I don't know if you might get this one.
Streak of lightning? No.
Is it okay? Well, it's to do with weather.
Feeling the thunder.
Feeling one's thunder, exactly.
Oh, well
I've already
done.
taken credit for something that you haven't done. What's this one?
Daggers drawn.
Cross swords. Is it cross swords?
Cross swords.
Well, what have the guys got on their arms?
Cloaks.
Cloak and dagger.
Cloak and dagger.
Cloak and
Cloak and dagger.
Ah, yes, very
Well
good.
done.
Popular in Spain in the 18th and 19th, a form of melodrama where the weapon was concealed under a cloak.
Wearing your hat into the ring.
Yeah, well done. It's a boxing idiom, yeah. So that in the early 19th century, boxers used to travel around, and if they wanted to join in a fight, they would just throw their. And conversely, you get throw in the towel to concede defeat. So it's the same kind of idea. It's to do with Shakespeare.
As you like it.
That's a good try.
Salad days.
Salad days.
I was
well
thinking
done, well
salad
done.
days, but
Okay. Cleopatra
Yeah.
refers to her salad days when she was green in judgment, and it's from Antony and Cleopatra by Shakespeare.
right. Uh-huh.
You look really good from far away.
Backhanded compliment.
Yeah, well done. Yeah. But it emanates from fencing, actually. It was sneaky move in fencing. Look down on him. It's indirect, deceptive. It's kind of like ungentlemanly way of behaving. So doing it backwards. Anyway, that's it. So I think that's basically the end of today's.
That was good.
That's really enjoyable. Yeah.